Well, he didn't say the sabbatical at that particular time, but he said we were in that 70th week of creation. And in other words, he went on to explain that it takes 7 weeks to make up a creation, and we were now in that 7th week, and how he had explained, or he had said several times, I remember in teaching, how that in the next creation to come, you don't even have to deal with Satan and his hosts, or even none of that, because in that he had come in this one, we could alleviate that for the next creation to come. And see, and the next creation would be another 7 weeks, which we all know that each week is 7,000 years.
Okay.
And then he was explaining how even all of that and the creations before were still all where we point to the cloud, where, the red boundary and all that, and that day of eternity right there in that cloud, he was still showing that all that was there, which him saying that made me even more understand how that when Elohim took on shape and form, he was among so great a cloud of witnesses, because those were witnesses from the previous creations. And that was there watching Yahweh transform into that incorporeal body and call himself a son. So, no, I don't know. When it's like that, it's just phenomenal to me. I like to stay in that rim and speak from there. But he went on. He was explaining that, and a few were asking questions about it. So he explains that too in there, and about Adam and Eve and all that. But it's a good tape to watch, because we often talk about, this age is coming to a close, and he said, even though we say in this creation, Yahweh hid himself from himself to reveal himself to himself, and he said, it's true and it's that, but that ain't even worth the damn, because Yahweh already declared what was already going to be. That's why we can say, the fight is over before it begun, because it's going to be what he willed it already to be.
Yep.
That's why it's important to remember that it's Yahweh with two manifestations, the metaphysical and the physical.
Yeah,
so
yep.
He's already declared that manifestation to be perfect. And
just like last week when I was talking about the chart, how that chart there where it shows a falling away, and he even went into that and explained how you want to misinterpret and think that was already done, but actually all of it was happening simultaneously, and he went to prove it by those people who like types and shadows. He went down to where he said, now when Moses was up in the mountain seeing the creation coming in perfection, those children of Israel was down there building a calf. So that's how you can see it was happening simultaneously. And I thought,
Continue, Shelley.
Yeah. At the same time, Yahweh alone
What happened to you and your phone? What happened to you? We can't hear you now.
You can't hear me?
I can now. You're loud and clear.
I didn't do it. Mm-hmm.
I thought I heard some decades ago that Ellsworth Wellmaker mentioned something about the satanic spirit being carried on into another age, that Yahweh was going to repeat that cycle. I just can't see it, but maybe.
Good evening, everybody. I came here.
It's false.
I don't know.
Yeah, that idea that the adversary being brought into another age, that is false.
Yeah, no.
Well, in one sense it is. You can't. You have to discern an age from a creation. It's different.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like Jonathan went through talking about those ages and dispensations and how that you can say an age and what was it, the dispensation?
Yeah,
Right.
age and dispensation.
I don't have no audio. I don't know if it's my computer. I'm just saying, I don't know if y'all can hear me.
We can hear you, Kim. I'll message Kim.
Are we all hearing each other?
I can hear everybody.
Okay.
I can hear everybody.
Yeah, well, I can hear too. I was just, but yeah, that age, it depends on how you're talking about it. Because remember, now we're talking, if we're in the 7th week of the cycle of that, or that of creation, then yeah, he's been, what was it, 6 before us, and each one of those 6s were like 7,000 years. You know?
Well,
but that don't have to be in the next creation to come, which is a whole another 7 weeks. Meaning each day is 1,000 years to Yahweh, and one day is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day. So each week is 7,000 years.
There's no reason to break in a time though. At that point.
Huh?
The time aspect. It's like, would it not be where the 7 cycles, the 7 weeks, 7 times, 7 cycles is understanding he is the week, and it's him fully as that week in every day of the week.
And he has been in all of those that was before and now, which is what I'm saying is that this is the end, could be the end of all that satanic, where the next 70, weeks, the next creation of 7 weeks, it does not have to deal with anything satanic.
Absolutely.
So that scripture was say, how often Yahshua, one of the disciples asked her, how often do you forgive your brother 7 times 70? Didn't that have to do with something with the weeks? Not so much.
70 times 70 is what he was told.
49 weeks.
490.
Right. So that has something to do with time.
Right.
Okay. I just want to understand that.
But okay, now remember that was while he was fulfilling under the law.
Right.
See, but when this age opened up on the day of Pentecost, I mean, yeah, you come in. Those ages opened up with a divine love, the vision and the revelation. So all that, which was hard to forgive somebody, that Yahweh said, remember none of those things. Well, he don't remember. Once you step into the position of knowing who you are, and somebody come along and say, oh, well, I remember you stole that battery, you can tell them, no, I don't remember that. Because that ain't the you that's existing now.
Right.
You know? And it ain't that you're lying. That old man has been put to death.
Exactly.
You don't think that way no more.
Exactly. Yeah, I just wanted some clarification.
Right. I mean that's what you mean when you step into that position and you know that you are Yahweh. You ain't trying to remember all that crap. You don't want to remember it for yourself or the next man that you're talking to. And that's a lot of times the problem with people who have no understanding. When now that you know that you're Yahweh and you're functioning in that position, they can never put to death or forget whatever they thought you did when you were 9 and 10.
Right.
You know? They still trying to throw that in your face. Well, you already know. That's the old man talking to you. How you going to talk to me? I'm in heaven and you on earth.
Exactly.
Isn't that Joseph and Mary's kid? Wasn't he from Bethlehem?
Right. But that's what we want to stop too. Somebody raising up in your face, they don't know who the heck they talking to.
Hello, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah, you're loud and clear.
Good afternoon, everyone. Peace in Yahshua. What y'all talking about? I remember Dr. Kelly saying on the SoundCloud, he said, now when you get to be 12 going on 13, you're responsible. And anyway, that reminds me of what you just said about that old man that used to do some dirty deeds. And they pop up in my head, some of the stuff that I did, and I battle with them. But I just wanted to point that out. Dr. Kennedy said you're responsible when you turn 13. And he was also talking about Joshua. At 12, he went into Egypt. From 12 to 13, I think, and he just pointed out that's when you're responsible. I don't remember what tape number it was, but I remember he was talking about that. That's all I want to point out.
Yeah, we're familiar with the fact that age of accountability is when you turn 12. That's why I guess probably now they usher the kids on into instead of 6th grade and being in elementary, now they're 6th grade and junior high. But yeah, you're at the age of accountability, and I think the Jews celebrate what is that?
Bar mitzvah.
For their their kids.
Right.
That's also why Pasadena chose to make it to where when you're 12 you can get your doctor license, compared to the other IDMRs who have it at 18 being it.
Right, because I got mine at 18 when I was going to 1040, and then, well, of course I was already of age by the time I got to Pasadena. So, but yeah, that's what they did. But we were taught, the children in Pasadena got theirs at 12.
Mm-hmm.
The age of accountability. Like, you've been taught, now you are responsible. Those attributes should be upright in you. Well, they already were, but But yeah, and then you figure the 12 tribes, all of that 12 lines up, those ages. But yeah, I don't know. I was listening to that tape. It's just like I love it when he would get into that room where he wasn't dealing with any types and shadows, Just he'd show, like I said, in the creation, he talked about, like I said before, they made the mistake when we had the 96 convention and somebody was saying that Yahweh backed them all the way back up to day one. No, that wasn't true. When Moses went back in the mountain on that second trip, he was right there where Adam and Eve were in harmony, one. It wasn't backed up to where Eve had to be recreated,
Oh no.
he backed them up right where he left them off, which was where they were one, where there were Yahweh, peace in the garden. And then after that, like moments after that, being in that state was when he saw or recognized what happened, and understood why he killed the man that was down in Egypt, why they built the golden calf. But see, he didn't see the fall in that glorified state. Everybody understanding what I'm saying?
Yep.
No. Explain to me like I'm a 2-year-old.
No, it's quiet. I didn't think so. What I'm saying is, in that state where Yahweh Elohim transformed for the Moses, the creation was all peace and righteousness. Elohim himself, represented righteousness transforming into every day of the creation. So where that righteousness was, you're not going to have unrighteous and righteous right there at the same time. It's just like you can't be happy and sad at the same time. You're either happy or you're sad. You understand what I'm saying? And when Yahweh backed him up in that second trip in the garden, it was moments after. It was a moment after he come out of that state. You can't be in that state to see transgression, is what I'm saying. It had to be a fleeting moment. It's just like you can be sitting at home on the couch watching TV and Yahweh give you a vision just that quick. You don't know how long the vision was until you come out of it, but yet you still sitting there on that couch, and then you're pondering on what he just showed you, and anybody the room could be full of people, but nobody saw what you saw, right?
Yeah, like being in the
you have been translated from you've been translated from one state to another state just that quick, and it don't always be a long time. I mean, when I've experienced Yahweh showing me something in a vision, it seemed like I saw it so fast, but then when I come back to, hey, it was a little time passed,
Right. It's like being in that eternal day. Because there's no time.
Yeah. I mean, I've sat. Yeah. I mean, I sat in classes with Dr. Glenn Kinley and had vision where I saw that lampstand, and it was just that quick. By the time Yahweh showed it to me, caused me to see and recognize and know what it was, my eyes always opened up. I never even knew the eyes closed, but when my eyes opened up, he was at the other end of the chart, preaching still.
Yeah.
But when Yahweh pulled me out, I was right there with him, right at the tabernacle, and he was preaching, and I saw it. I was just like, and it was when I saw it, it was just that one light, and in that one moment, Yahweh caused me to understand that it was the lampstand that sat there in the holy place, and I was caused to know why. Why it was turned on the chart, where we could see all 7 prongs, 7 branches, but that's not the way it was in that tabernacle. And that tabernacle was straight on. All you saw was the one light. And if I had had a nose or any part of my body, it was just right at my vision. I mean, it was like, no, I couldn't see anything else but that light, and understood it. And when it was over and I opened my eyes, Dr. Glenn Kinley was way at the other end of the classroom, teaching, and I was like, wow. And that's how the founder would say, you could see right now. You don't have to wait. This is that age where you're not waiting. They waited for the vision and the revelation when they were under the law. But after Pentecost, you didn't have to wait. He said he will come like a thief in the night, quick. The vision come quick, and the understanding come with it when you see it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it don't take all that. Yahweh, he could show you something and cause you to understand it now.
Mm-hmm.
But And I know, like, with the founder, yeah, he had the vision. And then afterwards, he had the revelation. Once they took him up to the upper room or bedroom, which was upstairs, and he passed out again, and that was where he had to receive the revelation. You know, and he had said, he had wondered when Yahweh showed him all those things. Why? What was it about him that Yahweh had to, give him a vision? But he did not understand what he had seen in the living room until until he showed him the revelation of it all when he was in the bedroom. You know?
Well, I agree with you.
So.
The moment Yahweh gives you a vision, it's like all time stands still as you perceive time, because you can't perceive time because he's showing you the vision, and then he gives you the understanding. It's like being in that eternal day, because that's who he is. He's eternity. So, yeah, I can concur with you. Yeah. It's like it's enough that your brain can't hardly contain what was shown to you. Like, wow.
Yeah. But anyway, somebody else can share. I'm on mute.
Bernard, you okay? How are you, Doc? Is that good? You still having problems?
No problems. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm trying to figure out how to work my own equipment. But anyway, but I'm okay now. I got the phone. I can hear you through my phone. And I just can't see your lovely face.
Oh.
You say you ready to sing?
Well, I'll tell you what.
I see you, Gary. I see you, Gary.
What I was going to say is that people younger than your age can't even operate tech. So that's
there. I am, Renard. See?
Oh yeah, I see.
I got my animals working today. See?
Good. You got your
can't operate tech.
You got your modern day do-rag.
Right. And I got, like I said, I got my animals working today.
Good.
Anyway.
Well, they got to earn their keep, right?
and Jonathan, as usual, relaxing and listening and preaching the gospel. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Anyway.
Being at rest, right?
Yeah, I watched Jonathan this morning wrestling with people that had no concept about where they're going, where they're coming from, and all that other stuff.
Oh gosh, Jonathan, you are a phenomenal warrior.
Yeah, he is.
Hey, because by this time I probably would have. I'll just go silent on some of them. Just go silent. Yeah.
I watched that debate.
Did they have class this morning?
Yeah.
Huh?
We can't hear.
Did they have class this morning?
Oh, they did have class this morning. Yes.
What are we talking about? Are we talking about the one in Florida or Daytona?
No,
oh, okay.
No, he did another one with some other guys that they sound like they were from Europe or someplace. They had an accent.
Yeah.
And some other stuff.
There was one guy from Europe, one guy who was a Jew from Israel, and a couple other Americans on there. Yeah, the main guy that I was kind of going back and forth, the older gentleman with a bit of a beard, he was a Jew, and he knows Hebrew and all that, and that's why it was being brought to Hebrew. But the conversation went into Adam being made both male and female. That's kind of where it was like a.
So, and this one here comes on where? On which one? On YouTube?
Yeah, it was a live stream on YouTube with about 4 or 5 other gentlemen, and they were a bunch of Christians, and we had about a 4.5 hour conversation.
Dang.
And then The one prior to it was a debate that I had with an atheist. The one I had last Sunday.
Yeah, he was the guy that you talked to last Sunday. He was saying stuff. I was catching him, like, because he was talking about how it was something that was happening in the heart that came to the DNA that they were altering. And I'm like, you can't change how you were saying you can't change the DNA. So
can we mute somebody so we can hear what she's saying? Something.
Thank you. It's Dr. Vine, it's your phone. Here, I'll do it. I think it's coming from the other mic. There it is.
Is that better?
Yeah, there you go, Teresa.
No, it was just that gentleman that you were speaking with last week. Man, he was a character. I was just like, wow, like some of the stuff, like he was really hard and into what he believed, and he just didn't care. And I think that was the whole big thing. His whole thing is like he just doesn't care. But anybody else thinks.
Well, and you see when he was trying to say the whole, he tried to make a gotcha because the DNA has 4 nucleotide monomers that it's made out of. And he was trying to be like, how many parts is DNA? How many parts is DNA? And it's 4. But then at the very end of the whole thing, I grabbed it right back from him and I was like, hey, how many parts is a nucleotide monomer made out of? Because it's 3. Because showing forth that Yahweh taking on shape and form, the Messiah, Yahweh Elohim manifested, which is that 4, that 40, that 4,000, that 4 million, that 400,000. It's that 4.
Right, because the tetragrammaton, that's right there in the DNA. So that's where that 4 is at with that.
Yeah, it spells it, but if you look at it by the pattern, the genetic code that is being expressed through the DNA being assembled comes together, manifesting when it comes together and it manifests, it produces all of the organisms and all the things within the cell that conduct biological life. So you have right there Yahweh, the pure spirit, going into shape and form and then creating the physical. Like it's literally displayed in not just the composition of the cell, but the function of the cell in every part of its composition. Like it's inescapable. But no, I know I've seen how he debates before. What's funny too is 4 days before our debate, he debated Kent Hovind, who's like one of the biggest Christian scientists guys out there. Like I went to a thing with this guy in college, and went to a seminar in college. Listen to that guy. But Kent Hovind's like huge in the Christian community. He helped build some of like the biggest like before the flood and Noah's flood museums and stuff like that and whatnot. But he debated him, and then what's funny is after the debate with me, just a couple days later, he debates Cliff and Stuart Konecki, which are like these really growing Christian things. And I was like, that is really interesting how I got placed in the middle like that. Because all these Christians are going to be watching his debates because of the people he just debated, which is going to make people watch a debate that he had related to the evidence for God, and they're going to come across an introduction to the pattern. Like the videos already had like 900 views. I look at that as like 900. Yahweh allowed it to where 900 people got a basic introduction to the divine pattern, you know?
If just one got an understanding, that would have been good.
Yep.
Well, we got a lot going on, so your challenge is that they're going to throw down the gauntlet at you. You know that. Or any one of us.
Oh, yeah.
Because right now, it's so much chaos until it's unbelievable. So, anyway.
And the other one though with the Christians was interesting. It was because even the Hebrew guy understood the masculine and feminine aspect being represented in the name Yahweh, Even the act of breathing the name, how it shows forth the masculine and feminine. Because we were getting into Adam being both male and female, and a few of the Christians got on, and we were having this talk for about an hour and a half, and then another Christian guest came on, and he started accusing me of speaking all these Gnostic things, and this other Christian speaks up, he goes, "Excuse me, I haven't heard this man say anything Gnostic. He's been speaking according to the scriptures the whole time. I've listened to a lot of Gnostic stuff, and he ain't saying none of it."
Okay.
Oh, well, that was good. I was like, okay. But, yeah. No, it was interesting because the Jewish guy, he was saying that in the Hebrew, when it talks about the woman being taken and made from the rib, the way it's written in Hebrew, they assume that Adam had a brother that was created alongside him, and then that brother was turned into a woman. And I was expressing to them the reason it's written like that in Hebrew is because the woman is Adam, because I was expressing they called their name Adam. So both the man and the woman had the name Adam upon them. Okay. So when it's talking about the woman, the woman the female being taken out of the man, out of Adam, and woman being created, it has to show that she came from that perfect body where both male and female were in one. Because now the man and the woman being that form being divided, they both came of that form. Like Adam isn't the same form that the woman came out of. That form they both inhabited together was the form she came forth from. Right. And they both came forth from. They both are him. So the way it's written in Hebrew, it actually shows that understanding, but you have to understand that because they turned it in. I said, is this where Talmudic transgenderism came from? Like, because the Jews, most people don't know that during World War II, the Jews started the first transgender surgery clinics, and a lot of the books that the Nazis were burning, contrary to most popular belief, were actually the books that are being allowed today for kids to read, where a boy can be a girl and a girl can be a boy, all that stuff. But it's really interesting that the Jews actually have this idea that there were two men created and one was turned into a female. That's interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah. But the whole conversation went really well. Yeah, it was respectful and they were engaging, and it was nice to be preaching the gospel and you see heads going like this the whole time, like that's right. I was like, I don't even think some of you realize the things that I'm saying, because if you actually understood, you might be denying it. But that inner man is sanctioning it in you and is making that head go, yep.
Okay. All righty. Hallelujah.
You know, yeah. But it's a good thing.
That's interesting. Don't they see down the road, Jonathan, that a man and a woman have to come together to create a person? They didn't see that at all. Instead of two men and one man is turned into a woman.
Well, that was just the Jew. A couple of the Christians were actually testifying to the male and female being one. I was surprised. I was like, to me, it was just like, you see, this vision of Revelation has not stayed in the schools. It went out. Right. Like, these are things that no Christian was testifying to before the founder received the vision of Revelation. It shows that the work that Glenn put out there in the world, like people, it had an impact. It's like Yahweh's word does not return unto him void. You know, it's yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I think earlier in the days, they didn't even want the gospel to go out on YouTube. They didn't want any classes shown. At least where class I was from, they didn't want classes on YouTube. I almost felt like it was.
Headquarters has a ban across all the classes that are still tied to them of no YouTube videos. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what you got to hide? Something.
Exactly.
Let your light so shine. You don't hide it under a bushel. And here it is. You want to keep the gospel contained. But to me, it's cultish behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to hide that joy that you claim you got, that you want to share it with anyone. That's even on Facebook. I post the charts all the time. If it's just one person who acknowledges it, to me, it's worth it. And even on YouTube, be it somewhat controversial because of what's going on with the classes, Paul was saying that even in contention, the gospel is still being preached.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So what is it that you're going to hide that you claim you love so much? It's like getting married. You want everybody there. You want to celebrate. You say, I'm going to hide my wife or husband so I can say at the wedding, I will keep them in the back room.
Okay, Jonathan. Jonathan.
Yeah.
Explain to me what you just said about the ban, the classes that have been banned, or what again now?
Oh, Headquarters has a ban on producing YouTube videos for any IDMR classes that are tied to Headquarters.
Oh, okay.
Like all the classes that pay their dues to be a part of that IDMR name and all that, they have a ban on hosting classes on YouTube. You have to be on a list to receive videos of Headquarter classes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
They can have that.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Sounds good, don't it?
Look, that's a good way to keep that garbage contained.
Okay.
That's true. That is true.
I know that Renard went to Sacramento and we did our own. So.
You know what's funny too? My uncle part of class and all that, but I didn't find out about class till I went back to my dad's family when I was 16 and a half, 17, when I got to meet them again. Because my sister had run away from home and ran down there, and so after 10 years of not seeing them, got to meet them again, introduced the class to my uncle, whatever. I didn't know the whole time we were living in Sacramento in Oak Park, we were literally living like 7 blocks away from the IDMR building in Oak Park that was there for like all the years Sacramento class was there. And it wasn't until I found out about Sacramento class being there, they actually ended up moving, like they had moved like locations like the year before I found out about class. But the whole time I lived in Sacramento, I was literally like, I walked past that building all the time. And every time I saw, I remember because they had a church and everything, and we were part of the pastor's house and all that stuff, so we used to be part of the main people going to church. And I remember we would pass by class, and I would think it was like a Muslim gathering. I always did. I always thought it was a Muslim I remember that to the T. Like, when my uncle told me it was class, like, it just came back all the times I had seen at class gathering.
The only time I heard about Sacramento class is when Dad had, what's this guy's name that came down and spoke to us, Renard? The one that he had on a plaid suit and he was all on the floor. I don't forget what his name was. Do you remember or no? Do you remember, Shelley?
No, I only remember Oakland. I don't remember Sacramento.
Yeah, well, some guy, he came in and
we had to be on Washington then, right?
I don't know. I don't remember. I just know that was it because I didn't get into class until what, 79?
Yeah, but we were on Washington.
Yeah.
So was it in the first building?
No, the first time I came to class was on Mendocino, where Renard lived.
Oh.
That was it. That was my first class. Anyway, so that was it. Memories.
I was trying to say when the guest came from Sacramento, were we holding classes on Washington or Earlham?
I don't remember.
Are you guys sisters? Okay. Blood sisters?
Huh?
Rita and Shell, are y'all blood sisters?
No.
Okay.
She's my auntie.
Bernard shaking his head and saying, yeah, you are.
Hate to tell you this, but I'm the only one my poor mom had.
Okay.
I sent my mom a picture of Rita the other day, and she thought it was me. Yeah, I was laughing. Yeah. I said, "Oh, that's Rita."
We bonded, babe. Okay. Yeah, that's my little niecey. Anyway, but and I didn't like being alone, so I had a whole passel of kids. Anyway, because life is short, huh? Yep. Okay, Shelley was talking about those 7 weeks and 70 days and 7,000 years and the age. Not the creation, but the age.
Right.
Because one day is life.
A creation is 7 weeks. That's what he was explaining. And within each one of those 7 weeks, then that's where you have that where you talk about Satan was carried over into this week, not creation. So in the next creation, which is another whole 77 weeks of being 7,000 years, don't have to exist. It does not have to be bothered with a Satan.
He's not being recreated in the first place, is he?
Huh?
He's not being recreated in the first place, is he?
No, not created. It's like, I'll use this example. Once he said, you just take everybody in the house and you having a party. Nobody looks outside the window to see anybody outside. That would be how not acknowledging or giving that satanic spirit or satanic spirit any acknowledgement. You know, if everybody was in the house having a good time, nobody looked outside.
Yeah,
you know,
I've had enough of him already. I don't want to see him in the next age.
I feel the same. I feel the same. Look, I just feel sad. I ain't gonna come into that next creation where they ain't got to be bothered with it.
Yep.
But it should make you more just as happy to be part of them not having to be
of course
bothered with that. You know.
With that buster, huh?
I mean that to me is a great gift.
Yeah, it is.
You know.
For sure.
It's kind of like you raising your kids and protecting them for all that hatred and all the mishaps that could happen, you know, coming up, you know, and being successful at it, you know, where they could grow up and say, no, I wasn't never molested, I wasn't never beat, I wasn't never, you know, all that other stuff that you don't want a child to have to go through.
Right.
You know. And I mean, and then he even mentioned that's how scientists get it all mixed up because they want to say millions of years, but no, it's not millions of years like how they want to claim, you know.
So they want to use carbon dating.
You can't date something that was created instantaneously in the realm of eternity.
Yeah, but they don't know that.
It's already created, developed, so they're looking for a pre-developed time frame when it doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's why they're looking at the Big Bang. You know the Big Bang already occurred, so they keep trying to track it down. And when Yahweh said he spoke it and it stood fast, that was the Big Bang. Everything was created all at once.
Oh, look, the bang was when they split that atom. It's still being split. It's still banging.
Exactly.
I mean, to this day, babies are still being born.
Yep.
I mean, now that's phenomenal.
It's like
the
new stars are being developed all the time.
And the difference is when Yahweh created the angels, he just produced enough that angels don't reproduce.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It just is. They're not like man having to replenish or having kids. It wasn't that way with the angels. He produced. There was enough produced for eternity.
Okay.
You know, because angels don't propagate, and then they're not male nor female, and that was something to look at, because a lot of times when people would say Lucifer or Michael or Gabriel, then they're thinking masculine, but no, they were neither. Just because they have possess that name that you think is a masculine name, angels are neither male nor female, but possess the divine potentiality to manifest as either, but yet are neither. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, because they don't have organs to contend with to propagate. They just are.
They're glorified
in
bodies.
that sense of Yahweh having manifested those beings, you know. Look, they're not all in shape and form. You know, they just exist. They're just him expressed in a presence. You know, they don't have to have a body to be where they are.
Instances of expression.
Yeah. Because if that were the case, when Elohim, that was the host of angels when he put that body on. They gathered up inside in that anthropomorphic body. But there were those angels that it wasn't clear for them to take on shape and form. Those were the angels that witnessed Yahweh doing that, but were without shape and form.
It's funny too. The best way when what angels was like opened up, it was expressed in just an angle. An angel of Yahweh is an angle of Yahweh. Like here's an angle, 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 all one face. All one face, just different angles of the same face. It's like one angle standing out, but it's the one face. Like that's what angels are. They're all instances of Yahweh. It's like you could say that Yahweh manifested himself in every different angle of himself and held some in store too. And it was still innumerable. So how are you going to put a limit on him?
There's I think I've heard this before. I haven't seen the document on it, where someone asked Dr. Kinley, "Are we going to see each other again?" And then he remarked, "Sure you will, but the trouble is you don't see each other now." So will we see each other again after the flesh, after they take off the flesh? He said, "Sure you will, but the trouble is you don't see each other now." So my question is that something that would occur, or he was just making a statement in generality, along with how?
No, it's happening. It's happening now.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's Elohim
like
speaking
you said,
into
you look in the
Elohim.
mirror, you want to know Yahweh. Look in the mirror.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
him that you're looking at in the mirror.
Mm.
And when you're saying, when they're saying, they don't see each other now, if you recognize one another to be Yahweh, you would know I'm an angel in a coat of flesh.
Right.
And then there are moments when you can actually see that inner being when that veil is lifted, where you're not seeing the flesh.
So I guess,
you know, I mean, people have been able to witness that.
So he wasn't talking about.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He wasn't talking about. Will I see all of you when we take off the flesh? He was talking about himself, like you were saying, that the trouble is they don't recognize each other now. Speaking that they don't recognize he's dwelling in those fleshly bodies.
Right.
Exactly. He didn't mean like I'm not gonna see my mama again, or I'm not gonna see my sister or my wife, or in my case I've been married several times. Last one, I'm in a great marriage.
Well, if you do,
you ain't seen. I'll put it this way: if you did go to a place where you saw anybody you recognized, you'd be in the wrong place if there ever was. You better be scared.
And say, let me get the hell out of here.
I don't want to see any previous woman I've been with.
And we were taught this. If you got time to say, is this it? It ain't it.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was not it.
I'm glad you guys answered that for me.
But there is a time. I mean, I heard different ones over the years witness that they saw that light, or that being of the founder. They saw Yahweh Elohim, but they didn't recognize it to be that. But they saw. You know, they just saw like, oh, it was just the founder, something different, something changed, you know. But that was Yahweh that in that fleeting moment, lift the veil and put it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
there's times where they see the founder's face because they can't even imagine their face on that body. That's the problem. It's like Yahweh's encouraging them to know who they are. It's like he's showing, this man, that was me. So pay attention to what I said and recognize who you are. You know, it's
right, because you can't witness that without knowing. Well, I mean, you can without knowing, but when you see it, if you witness it, then that should let you know that's the same one in you.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I'll be there.
That's why there's people who are amongst headquarters that have had those instances, and that's why they deify the founder. That's why they even believe they're valid in deifying the founder. So you could see how Yahweh showed them the truth, and they believed a lie that was they had already crafted. It's like how do you even say some of the stuff you say if you actually are listening to the founder himself? You know, it's like how many times he got to say there ain't no salvation in any other name, to where you then pray to him. Like I've witnessed them pray to him, say a prayer at the beginning of class in his name, like sing songs of glory, honor, and worship to him, like.
You always say, I'll send them a strong delusion that they'll believe a lie, right? So that's got to happen. Yeah. That's got to manifest.
Right. Right there where the truth was taught.
Exactly.
And that in actuality, down there pretty much most of them ain't never heard the truth. Because if they didn't come in before he passed, they didn't hear the truth.
And he said that to Glenn on his deathbed too, when because it was around that time when Harris had said throwing devils out of him or whatnot, and Glenn had brought that
audience,
Yeah, and Glenn had brought that up to him.
Yeah, he had to do.
Yeah, he was casting demons out of himself, so watch out because he's got some doozies or something like that. And Glenn took that to the founder and mentioned that he said that, and the founder got upset. He says, "What? If any, you supposed to be casting them out of men, not casting them from in yourself into men." But it went. The founder said Glenn reports the founder had made reference to that instance as being those who were of the body departing and people splitting ways. Like he signified that was like Christians take the verse as meaning like they departed from us, they were never of us, or whatnot. I forget the verse exactly, but it's in the biography, and Glenn relates it. He said that the founder had related it to the damnable doctrines being taught and the believers kind of being split because there were those who were not going to dwell and abide around those who were corrupting the precious word of Yahweh. Yeah.
Right. So I came in class in 1990. I think the dean there was David Lyles in Columbus. And then I ended up in Lansing, Michigan under Terry Welch. And trying to think. Yeah, then Las Vegas under Covington Cormier.
Oh, man. Mercy.
I know, right? And
how long were you in Columbus?
Right.
David Lyles class.
How long were you in the Columbus class? Columbus, Ohio?
Yeah, 5 years, and then I was moved to Lansing, Michigan, and was there for 5 years, from 90 to 95, and then 95 I came out to Las Vegas.
Okay.
And then Cormier's class, and they got a little wild, so it started getting weirder when I got in Las Vegas. But I know your statement. You said you weren't there walking around with Dr. King before he took off the flesh. Everything else was like bad spinach. I'll put it that way. But I look at the journey. It's like going through Sinai Desert after leaving Egypt. Because before then I was a youth pastor in the Church of God, and so I got tired of Lord God and Jesus. But at the time, all I knew, I heard this radio program. It's called Yahshua. They were using Yahshua HaMashiach. That was a Jewish program. And so I started wondering. I said, and at that time, because all I knew was God, I said, if you don't tell me your real name, I won't serve you no more. So I became ill, got diverticulitis. Ended up in Grand Hospital. And this girl that was in my neighborhood, she's like a family member, she came and told me, she started talking about the court roundabout, started talking about the holy place. Her name was Denise. I said, what have you gotten yourself into, a cult? So she was saying, Gary, I want you to come to class. I said, what kind of class? So when I got there, I was in pre-med at the time. And this girl, they called a 12-year-old girl up on the floor. I said to myself,
all right.
What does she know? She was explaining, now, mind you, in pre-med, you learn physiology. But she got there and explained, I saw this tabernacle, and I said to myself, Denise was sitting next to me. She just tapped me on my thigh and told me, relax. I said, is this a cult? But I seen all the people, and there was so much peace in the room, charts on the wall. So I understood a picture's worth 1,000 words. But this 12-year-old girl got up on the floor and compared the physical body to the tabernacle pattern. And I said, they don't teach us in med school. They don't. They even explain why gas comes out. Because that sacrifice is burned up on the altar, and Yahweh wanted that stench outside the camp.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I knew I was in the right place. I told myself, and I was in tears, I said, I've been lied to all this time. Not knowing, at least the basics I learned with David Lyles, that I went back to church the following Sunday, and And that was before I told my pastor first went to his house, told him I no longer wanted my minister's license. And he asked me what was wrong. I said, I went down to this class, and they used the true name. I said, have you ever been down there? And he lied and said, yeah, I've been down there. I don't know. But no, he didn't. He didn't know. So he said, well, I want you to stand up in front of the congregation. And it's about 120 people in there at the time. And I want you to tell them why you were leaving. So then he leaned over and said, I don't want you to mention about that name. So, yep, I gave my license. And while I told him I no longer wanted to attend the church, I heard people crying. Then I heard people, and Pastor Cooper, you can't leave. And some people said he has the devil in him. He possessed. So after that, my life totally changed. So I had a progression from going to 3 different classes. And at that time, before everything went real nuts, was going nuts in Las Vegas class. They started going nuts because they started worshiping the demon. You know, at first, when I got there, I felt like, man, this guy's on fire. But then it started getting perverted. So I stopped going. I was very sick at the time, too. I had back surgery from military accidents. But I ended up discovering, I said, I am in a cult. I ain't talking about Church of God. I'm talking about IDMR. Because the way he went rogue, you know. So I didn't come to know about classes actually going south until sometime later when they started having tapes and telling you if you stay at home, you can dress up at home and you can look at the tape, you can look at the screen. I wasn't about that. So when you say that if you came in after Dr. Kinley, basically you were screwed, yeah. Yeah, but it's been a journey.
Right.
And so I also look at
well,
the
look,
fact that
I should say, unless you was fortunate to be sitting under Dr. Glenn Kinley. You know,
I've heard so much about Glenn Kinley. I've always thought I didn't know I didn't know his affiliation, which is Dr. Kinley's son. I didn't know how much work he actually put in, you know, with the gospel. Everything was, yeah. So now I'm learning. I'm on the IS site now on my MacBook, just looking, you know, through some of the things that he's done. But anyway, I'm grateful because now I know I'm getting fed. That's what I want to say. So I know I'm getting fed. I'm getting good nutrition.
I just know when we came to your Las Vegas one over there, they were not kind to us, me and Jim. And Jim said, he said some not unkind words, but, you know, he just said, oh, I'll let Yahweh handle this one. Anyway, but it was rough. It was.
I took my wife, and they mistreated her. I said, I can come back here. I just wanted to see what was going on with me, and then I haven't been back. That's been a good 20 years.
That was after Dad left and went to Florida, and we were in Las Vegas, and we decided to go there, you know. So
right.
It was not very kind, but anyway, it was just an experience.
Yeah, it's because they end up worshiping the man, the creature.
Yeah. He basically told us, you don't come into my school to tell us. And then that was Les Lyons. And who's the other guy that was up there? Bernard or Shelley, the tow truck driver? Les Lyons, and then the tow truck driver. I forgot what his name.
I think his name was Carol.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, see, they all came from, they went to Pasadena, but they came from Detroit.
They came from where?
They came from Detroit.
But here's what's funny, Gary. All these older dudes, all these dudes you find around, when they sound like they actually know a little bit about something in the doctrine, you'll find out that they were under Glenn for a little bit. It's so funny. It is so hilarious.
Yeah.
They literally every time you because you'll hear Les and Arden and some of these people, and they sound like, man, you know some extra stuff about the gospel, and then you find out they're all listening to Glenn. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
That's true.
And then a lot of them want to go Several of them want to go out,
Les
and then they want to start schools.
Yeah.
And they did.
Well, Les
You know?
Lyons came in with, actually, they all followed Dr. Billy Henderson.
Oh, that's
And
right, they did.
It was Dr. Billy Henderson and his wife, and then it was his brother, and his family, Louis and Pat and their kids, and then what was the guy? What's that man? The one that Loopy like Renard? Skip Henderson.
Oh yeah. Skip.
And then his brother had came for a while. I think that brother is dead now, I think. But his brother had came to Pasadena as well. And Skip actually did go to Florida. And so did Louis and his family went to Florida. Mm-hmm. And then Les and them left class. They ended up going to down there in Las Vegas. But
Lyons went there because he was an elevator, guy. He was a guy that did the elevators and all that.
He went there looking for work, but they had left class before, I think. Well, maybe I guess after they went to Florida, but the first group went to Florida, and they ended up in Las Vegas. But he didn't know nothing in Pasadena. I don't even remember, maybe a couple of times he ever even got a chance to speak on the floor.
Oh,
Joe Williams left Pasadena and started the Ontario branch.
Right.
Well, it was Joe and Tyrone. They left together.
Horn.
And they left because they had issues with Glenn. Joe believed that the creation wasn't coming to an end, and Tyrone believed that that it has something to do with Adam and Eve. They had some doctrinal issues with Glenn, and he had told them this is not the time to leave, and they left and called themselves setting up a school, and I don't think they even stayed together that long before Tyrone left, and then Joe was there in Ontario until he passed, maybe about 3-4 years ago now.
Yeah.
I just know Tyrone preached Jim's funeral. He did.
Tyrone was a good teacher.
Yeah, he was an excellent. Yeah.
But being a teacher and having the vision is totally different. If you're not experiencing the vision when you're teaching, you're missing it.
Yeah.
You should be seeing what you're talking about while you talk about it.
Exactly.
Right.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. You just can't be talking about something. You got to be experiencing and knowing. When the founders say, follow me, when Glenn say, follow me, when he went to Adam and Eve, you should have been like, I'm right here with Adam. I'm right here with Eve. I can see what's going on in her consciousness about Lucifer. Right. I mean, you gotta be there. It wasn't no damn snake. That was a thought in her consciousness, but you're gonna remember that it was Moses that used the serpent because he had already lived in the earth plane, 80 years before Yahweh gave him the vision. So he knew the disposition of a serpent. And that was why when he began to express to the scribes what Yahweh showed him, he used the serpent because of the disposition of how a serpent was, slimy and whatever, deceitful and crafty and all that, the dispositions of a snake. But he knew that all took place on the cosmic screen of the woman. She produced that because she was remembering that angel in all his glory before he fell in that eternal state. Yahweh Elohim allowed him, the founder, and whoever else was present at that time to see those things, to know those things that was going on right within them. He didn't have no serpent laid out on the ground talking to the woman.
Right.
You know?
Just adjective like
so,
women.
no. I mean, that's why I say you got to live it. You got to be it. That's how you're going to be able to resurrect somebody else from the dead. You can't just be talking about something. Talking about something, yeah, that might impart knowledge, like a teacher in the school. But when you're, like I had a 6th grade teacher that used to tell us about when he was in the war and all that, and he told us one time, shoot, by the time you guys get grown, you'll be watching TV on your wrist, on a watch. And I never forgot that. And I was just like in the 6th grade. But the man, when he talked about his life, it stuck with you. You know, It was like truth. That's just like with the doctorate. When you see it as Yahweh showing it and playing it out on your cosmic screen of your consciousness, and you're telling it to somebody, it's going to play out for them. If they leave it exactly like you give it to them, as Yahweh's giving it to you to say it, then that's how they receive the vision. That's how it's going to play out. That's how they're going to come to the knowledge. Just like on that tape, I'm telling you, Dr. Grant Cunley at the end, he said, now, if you just leave it like he told you, he said, and then he used the example that when his father used to say, I was glad when they said, come into the house of, Yahweh, right? That expression. And so he said, when he first heard his dad say that, he didn't know what he didn't understand it. And he said for some years went on, he wanted to understand when he said, I was glad when they said, come into the house of Yahweh, right? And so he said, but when his father said the prayer at his son RP's funeral, that's when it clicked and he understood what he meant when he said, I was glad when they said come into the house. I was like, like so phenomenal, because when you understand it like that, you leave it just like he gave it to you, even though you don't understand it, in the appropriate time that Yahweh has declared for you to see it, you'll see it. But you got to first be it, The founder had already been into the house. That's how he received the vision. You know what I'm saying? So, and to take that body off, that's going on home, So, but he left it just like he said it. So, at that time, he would understand. And Glenn would often say that he was sad because his dad and RP did him dirty because they left before him. He wanted to go. For years, he was wanting to take that body off.
Right.
Always talked about it. And we always talked about, don't talk like that. We wanted to keep him here. Long as, and then there was people in class didn't ever believe he was going to die. But I knew he was. I knew a time was going to come because he told us. I knew. But there was those, and he said it to them over in Florida. I know some of you think, he think he wasn't going to leave here. But I knew different. Because he told us exactly. I mean, I was perked up that day listening, thanks be to Yahweh, but I didn't, I knew that time would come, But yeah, you have to be what you're talking about. You can't be. That's why we say you can't just be talking about it, Yahweh. That's who you have to be. How you gonna resurrect somebody with a vision that you're not?
Right.
You got to be the vision walking.
Exactly.
You're the institute, right where you stand, right where you sit. You are the Institute of Divine Metaphysical Research.
Right.
Incorporated where? In that one body of Yahweh Elohim.
I'll be there.
That's in you. That's when we say the doxology. Now unto him, who? Yahweh Elohim in you is able to present you faultless before the presence of his glory. Where? In one another. When we love one another, we ain't trying to see you in the wrong.
Exactly.
We want to keep you in the right. And that you can only do that with Yahweh Elohim in you, upright.
Right. That's right.
You know?
And the 23rd Psalm says that.
Let me shut up. Somebody else could share.
No, it just said at the end of the 23rd Psalm. What does it say? Anybody know the ending of the 23rd Psalm? That I will dwell in the house, in Yahweh's house, forever. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And I had Doc to remind me of that, because all the illness and the things that are going on. He said, remember that. Thanks, Bernard. Wake me up sometime. Anyway.
With me, the rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Yep.
Anyway.
You talk about disease. That's what's going on. That not understanding Yahweh as He really is and actually exists in you. That's a disease if you don't have that. I mean, we talk about this now, autism. Yeah, when you stuck on stupid, waiting on dumb, in your consciousness about what Yahweh done showed you. You waiting on something you've already been given. That's stupid.
I like that.
He said, I delivered you. I got on the cross and died for you. What the hell are you waiting on?
Right. So true.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
He's already given you everything. You no sooner in this age, you press the loins of your mother. Them 9 major attributes is upright in you, waiting to keep you on the way, safe. All you have to do is contend, hold on to them upright in you. Don't permit them to be perverted, because for them to be perverted is to pervert what Yahweh is in you.
Right.
You know, you gotta want to be a serious warrior. Your job is to hold fast to what you got. You fighting for your own, to maintain your own salvation. Not that you don't have it. You come here with it. You want to hold on to it.
So you also said, work out your salvation with fear and trembling.
Shoot. Well, hey, fear Yahweh. You ain't trying to turn that eternal life away, loose, because you already got it.
Exactly.
It's like, I know, I've walked into some classrooms when I was in college and a teacher. Everybody started out with an A or 100%. Now you want to hold on to that A, and the only way to do that is to pass the tests. Keep on enduring, whatever assignments that come up in the class. Now, that's what we do. As long as you love one another, hey, that's pass the test right there. Get past all of what, stop putting one another through unnecessary drama and stop taking it on yourself, because we was always taught you don't want to scar one another. You don't want to put wounds in each other that you can't heal, on your foolishness, saying or doing those type of things. And sometimes it might seem hard, but it's easier to walk away and bite down, and not say some things, just hold that peace within and ask for one another, as opposed to wanting to be so quick to get somebody told. Right. Like I say to people all the time, Dr. Glenn Kinley wasn't no joke, because he knew how to set you down and put you in your place, and that was what Dr. Harris and them didn't like about him. But the thing about it, the man was a loving man, and he knew how to do it real nice, how to put you in your place. And that's what he taught us. We went to 1040, we went to them classes. Didn't nobody go up in there but somebody, babies that didn't know how to handle themselves. But you didn't go up in the man's face disrespecting him and all of that. We acted as we acted at home. We greeted you with a holy kiss, embraced you, with a hug. And if we had something to say, hey, just waited for the proper way to let it come out,
Right.
And look, we was 100% in support of our teacher. When he went and got on the floor, we was right there. You know, because we knew, or I knew, we was with the boss. We didn't go nowhere asking questions. We had the answers.
Right.
You know? And that's the way I feel right now. I don't go nowhere to be taught. I've already been taught. You know? I got the answers to whatever it is, and I can help you get to where you're supposed to be.
Hallelujah.
You know? And that's not a boast. That's one of those moments when I would say, allow me to boast in Yahweh. I sat down on them seats just like everybody else. And I went through all the trials and tribulations, and thank goodness it wasn't in vain, you know, because I'm proud to say that I knew and I sat and I understood what Yahweh had to say in those vessels, Dr. Glenn Kinley and Dr. Henry C. Kinley, you know. I was glad to be there.
Right.
You know. And still in my heart, I live with not wanting to let them down. When I give it to you, it's just how they gave it to me. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. With the hopes we can see the self-same thing, the self-same way in Yahweh.
Right.
You've been awfully quiet there, Dr. Vine.
What do you mean?
You can't hear?
Hey, listen.
Well, he can't
hear.
Oh.
He's having technical problems.
There has
Tell
to
him
be.
he can talk. We'll mute and deal with the static.
I'll mute. Come on, I'm muting.
I'm muting.
He's muted. He needs to unmute.
I don't know how to get it on.
There you are.
I can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, my mic is hot. No, I'm enjoying it, and with everything that you said, Shelley, I concur with. You know, I just listened to one of Glenn's tape, the tape in Ohio, 2000, was it 2006 or something like that, or 96 gathering that they had. And one of the issues that was raised that I heard the founder say the self-same thing, and you mentioned it today, is that when we talk about Yahweh, we keep looking at ourselves as not quite there, or not quite, how should I say it? Not quite Yahweh. I'll put it that way, because of what we feel is our shortcoming. And he mentioned about Adam and Eve. The founder said that he made it very clear. He said, "Don't be dumb." He said, "How could Eve be lacking anything? And and she needs your explanation about who she is. If you remember where she came from, and she heard inside Adam, when she was in Adam, the laws that was given to him about not touching the fruit and all that other stuff and everything else. But she came out with the self-same, how put it this way, and the words don't match, out with the self-same being that he was. No different. And she wasn't dumb. And Glenn put it this way. He said, Adam turned to Eve and said, "It's now for us to put this show on the road." That meant that they were together. But Glenn said like this. He said, just because she was the bride, don't mean that she was dumb. He said Adam and Eve was known by their name, Adam, not two different names. They were known as the self-same name, Adam and Adam, saying that they were one. And that's why the founder said you cannot talk about whether you go out of one body and get into another. He said because everybody comes out of that extension from Adam all the way down, another extension. Your mother was an extension. You're an extension of your mother, and so forth. Your children are an extension of you. There was another body made. It was all one body. All came from one body. You know, and the thing is that what's marvelous about it, he says, Adam didn't have to do anything to Eve other than to consume what she was thinking for them to get it over with. And that's what Glenn taught us. He said, Adam, consume that, that thought that she had.
Okay. Now,
she didn't have the thought out of herself. She had the thought because it was time for them to do what they had to do, was to come out of the garden and procreate and go all the way down the line till they get to you. That was her job. And he said that you'll be saved by childbirth. Wasn't a first child. He was talking about the Messiah birth. He's the one that fulfilled everything. That's how far down the line that went. It wasn't Adam, Cain, and Abel they were talking about, her offspring. He was talking about Yahweh was talking about the offspring of the Messiah coming forth from Mary.
Okay.
That was the fulfillment. That's why Glenn said from the day that he was born till the day that he took the body off, he was fulfilling everything. But that you will be in the rest. You are now in the present kingdom age. You are in the age of grace. And Glenn took it further. He said you're in the sabbatical age, meaning that you're in a heavenly state. You just have to recognize it. So when you talk about Les Lyons and all the others, they're busy looking at themselves.
Right.
That's why they can't see what you're telling them.
Okay.
And you can't hate them about it because there's a place for them too. Either they're gonna get on that bus that's going into heaven, or they're not gonna go there. And you don't have nothing to do with that.
Exactly.
You just do your part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, class was very good today, and I'm sorry about my equipment, but it worked fine when I'm listening to music. But the moment I try to put the class on, it goes wild, it goes crazy. But anyway, I'll figure it out one way or the other. Or you have Jonathan help me one day.
Yeah, you will.
Anyway, I'm glad to be here. How you doing, Theo?
Hi.
How you doing? But anyway, I'm glad to be here. Anyway, but I remember last week I was trying to tell you something about the guy from Oakland. I can't remember his name, but he did a whole book and a whole chart and everything else, painted all green, and made that statement about the founder was his forerunner. But I
know you're talking about.
Accidentally, when Glenn was absent, he came to Glenn had passed. He came to our class in Pasadena to speak, and I told him, I says, you can't come around us with that. We will kill you about that. I didn't mean. I was not looking at us beating him up. I meant that he's not going to make it. You're not going to make that in your brain.
Right.
And that's how we feel about it. You know, you rise up against us, we want to take you out. You know, we give you a chance to possibly repent. And I don't mean that we have that kind of power. But I put it this way: Glenn taught us that if you ask Yahweh with that certain heart and mind, it will come to pass.
Right.
Am I right, Shelley?
Yes.
Rita?
Yes. Yes.
All you have to do is be what you're supposed to be, and let Him abide in you. And what this was a saving grace. And this is our saving grace. He said He didn't send nobody out to preach the gospel because He was afraid if you didn't have a vision and revelation, you couldn't match up to the people that you're going to come before. You don't have the knowledge to do that.
That's true.
Only Yahweh in you, abiding in you, and the desire to do righteous that you can match up with them, and they can come before you, and they can't give you any question that you cannot explain. That's what he said.
Right.
He said because you're not supposed to be doing the talking anyway. It's supposed to be Him in you talking.
Right. So true.
But anyway, thank you guys. Zip it up. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
You can unmute yourself, and I'll mute me and go.
No, we're all on basically, and you're still good.
Yeah, but Glenn repeated that Shelley on a '96 convention tape in Ohio that they had. Wasn't the day that a lot of the outside visitors was there, because the people that he spoke to and around and about were only Billy Henderson and I think the drummer, and that's the only stranger that I saw in the body, because he walked through the body, and he said that he said you're wasting your time thinking about things opposite of what's been given to you. Just repeat what I have given. Repeat what the founder gave you, and what I have told you that the founder said. Just hold that in your heart and mind, and let that be your guide.
Okay.
I heard
that. Yeah. But I know nobody have been able to beat us up. I put it that way, Gary. Nobody. They can talk about it, but and and this is what Yahweh have done for us. When we go before them, and tell them where we came from, 9 out of 10 times they'll start backing down. But they hated Glenn. They hated him. I didn't say they didn't like him. They hated him because they hated the founder. They felt as though that the founder was not. The founder was very articulate, but the founder was more countrified and holiness-fied than they thought that they were by being a college with a college degree.
Right.
And they were trying to judge it on a man that they were looking at, rather than. In fact, when the founder wrote, they had the founder to write his vision. And when he wrote his vision, they asked him to correct it 3 times. Chief, it's over our head. The other people can't explain it, so he revised it again. And it's still too much. But yet still, they thought that they could retire him and take over. And when Glenn told them, "Don't you know that they're talking about retiring you?" How they could do that? Oh wait, I'm gonna get that straightened out.
That's funny. There's a tape of the founder memorial, or his wake, where they're at the funeral home or whatnot, and they call people up to talk. At the time where they call Glenn up to talk, and you can hear the disdain they have for him, because when they call him up, here's a 39-year-old man and 40, right? 49-year-old man, and they're calling him Glenny Kinley, and that wasn't even a name that was like something he accepted from them or something that they were used to calling him. That was simply from disdain for the man, trying to make him a child before their own show. It's ridiculous.
But he was all that he said he was. I mean, but what makes it easy is, I remember one guy in our class, every time I talked to him, he'd tell me how much he wanted to punch him in the mouth, how much he wanted to knock him out. And I keep saying, what the hell are you talking about? I mean, I could see you going to war with a person that might have his dukes up. But the man, he never had war in his mind. The only war that he had was obeying the founder to take the body off. He wanted to not be here. Ever since I've been knowing him, he wanted to go. And the founder said, "You got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you're supposed to do." I put it that way. Not that you got to do, but the thing is that he told us everybody's name, told us how they would act, what they would do, and when we laughed at them and they'd come and visit us, their congregation wouldn't know that they came. They would come undercover, and when they got ready to speak before us, we'd start giggling and hide behind the benches. And after the man left, Leonard says, "Now that wasn't polite. I didn't tell you to do that." He don't know that he's exposing his shortcomings before you. But he is. He said you're supposed to stand up without embarrassing him or making him feel little until when he go we can discuss it without hurting his feelings. But he'll be back. And every time they came back. They come with bodyguards. They would come bodyguards. And he said, if Yahweh is with you, what do you need a bodyguard for? What the bodyguards would do? I was telling my daughter, I said, I tell you, every time I ask you, I said, did you lock the door? She said, yeah, I locked it up. No, I didn't like it. I said, I'm not asking for me because I'm not expecting anybody to break in here and come and do nothing to me. But they can come in here and get you. Right. I said, when you're not what you're supposed to be, that could happen to you.
Right.
Yep.
I said, but I'm not worried about it.
I've never had no bodyguard.
We're gonna get you a bodyguard, Theo.
You fell through a building and got dragged by a bus.
And I still go to class with a walker on 3 modes of transportation.
Ain't learned your lesson yet. My God.
So I mean, it's like, and no one has been said they want to be my bodyguard.
We're gonna be your bodyguard.
Man, I say.
And let me tell you this. This is the last time I'm saying, and I'll shut up. Glenn taught us this, and it works. It was supposed to work right. He said that, okay, Gary, you and I are out someplace, and I'm gonna use you as an example, and you acting a fool, and you acting contrary to what we've been taught.
Right.
I'm not supposed to say nothing bad in front of nobody about you.
Right.
When I get around the corner, I say, hey, what you doing out there? Put that ribbon on your head.
Right. That's old school.
That's the unity. That's the unity of the body. The people are not supposed to have anything to look at you negative about.
Right.
Exactly. We're supposed to uphold one another.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yep.
And like they were mentioning about the man that did things wrong that he was not supposed to. He got to tell me. He says he messed with Glenn's wife, and that was in the latter days. And he told me, he says, yeah, but Glenn told me he told me, Renard, that he forgive me. I said, yeah, he told you that he could forgive you, but he always told you that I could forgive you, but Yahweh may not. And here's where he was. He was not. He was, and he had that same thing happen most of his life with most of his mates for one reason. And that's the way Dr. Harris came at him also. Mm-hmm. That's what Dr. Harris didn't like him, but he wanted to put him down and belittle him, so he go after the wife.
Right. Wow.
Oh boy.
But the thing is that we knew better. The man was mush in our hands. I mean, there was no combativeness. I mean, he never took the high side. I put it that way. He always was. He would not. If you were this high and you talk about the doctrine, he's with you. But if you would talk about something stupid down here, he didn't come down there. But he didn't ostracize you about it.
Okay.
If you ever had any shortcomings, he'd go and play his music. He'd go play his drums. He just disappeared and go play his drums.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't argumentative. A lot of things that you have to go back at what he taught you to understand his being. And I told the guy, I said, how could you say that? The man never was somebody might want to call you an occult, but he never practiced any occult attitudes or behaviors or nothing like that. But anyway, and he told you not to. He said you give praise and glory to your parents because they're the ones that bore you and they're the ones that raise you. He said you be what you're supposed to be to them.
Right.
And he never told you quit going here, quit going there. Some of them didn't want to go to college because they thought that we were at the end of the age and we didn't have to go. He never taught that. Never taught you not to do anything that you wanted to do within reason in relationship to the gospel. That's why the founder said in his women's meeting, I don't want you outside smoking cigarettes. Well, smoking cigarettes wasn't going to kill you. It didn't have to kill you. But the thing is, you out there, he came from a holiness church. You out there smoking cigarettes and living and talking and drinking. That wasn't a custom that the people would look at in reference to a person of religious background.
Okay.
That's how he looked at that. Not so much that you wasn't allowed to smoke.
Right.
But he didn't want you to be in front of the building out there smoking, women, and maybe toasting and everything else. You weren't supposed to do that. The people looking at you. the people that you talk to about this gospel, they're looking at you. And when they look at you, you don't want them to look through you. You want them to see the holiness, the holy being that abides in you.
Right.
Yep.
And like Shelley says, you want those manifestations of Yahweh and the attributes to be highly polished, so that when they see the manifestations before they, when they see you, say, oh yeah, that's the nice guy live next door. Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, don't want to create a stumbling block. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. But anyway, so much for that, guys. I'm sorry.
No, that was beautiful. That was really beautiful. That goes back to the authenticity of this thing.
Yeah. No. And it's good. I mean, I put it this way. Our group here, I couldn't find a better group of people to be around. I mean, for what purpose? Yeah. I could find a lot of people here.
I feel the same way.
I got a lot of people that might want to be around.
Me too.
Unity.
That's it.
Yeah,
you want to get together, you want to be edified.
That's right. That's right. It gives me glory to just find another man willing to accept this gospel. I'm happy about it. I'm exceedingly joyful about it. I feel as though that something I'm doing is right. Something I'm doing, I was taught, and I'm following those instructions.
Well, didn't Yahweh put persecution on the children of Israel in Egypt? He drove them out.
Oh yeah.
Right, the last 5 words the founder said in his last lecture was, "You better love one another."
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That was his last 5 words.
That's right.
And then God always told us, love the brethren.
That was on December 22nd, 1975.
Wow. 4 years before I came in. Anyway, though, and he said, love the brethren, love one another, and come and learn of me.
Yeah, he said you better.
That's what he said.
The funny part about it, once you know Yahweh, you look at everything that exists is none another expression of Yahweh.
Right, that's true.
The man. And the man don't have a body of his own, don't have a spirit of his own. So you got to love him too.
Ain't got nothing.
You might not accept his bad behavior, but you can't hate him about it.
Right.
That's your job. It's left up to Yahweh to say what he going to tell him at his last day. Say, you remember me? You remember what Gary told you? What did he tell me? he told you the ways of Yahweh. And what do? You try to beat up everybody with words that you can find to show your importance. Get on that other bus. Yeah.
Oh, God.
You're all subject to his will.
That's right. So how was class today, Theo?
It was very good. It was in and out. It was very interesting. But yeah, we have a picnic coming up on Saturday, so that's going to be interesting.
We haven't had a gathering in a while, have we?
No, we haven't. The 3 of us haven't been in the place.
Yeah, we got to come see you.
Huh? Yeah, we got to. Well, Gary's the closest. Theo is the next closest. Then I guess Jonathan, how far are you down the line?
Then me, then Teresa.
Oh yeah, that's right. Teresa's all the way in Florida. Okay, right.
Richard, where are you from? Where are you at? That's the thing.
He's in who? Gio?
Renard.
Teresa.
Sorry, Renard.
Oh, I'm right in the West Los Angeles, around the Baldwin Hills.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I would be closest.
Yeah, I moved about 3 miles further east a couple of weeks ago.
Johnson's up north.
Yeah,
San Francisco.
And Shelley and I are 200 miles away from you or less.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we're in Apple Valley. Victorville, Apple Valley.
Well, that's good. We can go see him or we can go see Renard. It's the same distance.
Right.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Where's Apple? Is it in Southern California?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in San Francisco.
Yeah. See, when you came up here, you were like 45 minutes from us.
Right, when you came into Ontario.
Okay.
When you went to
He went to where the gambling casinos is. What's the next?
Oh, he was in Bloomington, wasn't he?
No, downtown, going towards Palm Springs. What is that?
Oh yeah, he was out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indian Wells.
Temecula?
No, what a school is that school? They have a IDMR school there. Remember the lady?
Yeah, the Banning branch.
Oh, that's right, the Banning.
Yeah, Banning.
Okay.
And they have the CSOB in Indian Wells. That's where all the schools from California meet for the business.
What's it called? The CSOB?
CSOB. California State Offices.
You go see a son of a bitch.
Well, they're a little bit closer than that, Jonathan. They're down in L.A.
It's all headquarters and all their California branches that are a part of them coming to meet together. And you go there, you're going to see SOB.
Yeah. You're not supposed to be singing things like that. We only did that whenever I dispatch and we would do, because every time the kids tell me something false, I say, you're FOS.
Oh boy.
Well, it's ridiculous. It's like even the people who point these things out in class and how Yahweh is just ever present and ever showing forth what's in front of you. How do they not see the joke upon themselves with that? Like, it's like you want to name it something else because you know that could be a thing. Like, it's just. They just won't stop, can't get enough. They want to talk about not making it to 2026. Well, maybe.
That's a couple of more days.
The way time is moving.
Yeah.
Well, especially since the 2025 is being implemented.
I'm telling you. And I was watching a news article this morning about that black women are the backbone of this country, and that's who he's targeting with the 2025 thing. They're targeting black women, and the black women, and they're saying that they are the backbone of our whole economy is based on the black woman.
Well, you tell them to come into our neighborhoods, and we got some hot combs and some curling irons for them.
I'm telling you, because black women have demonstrated the greatest resilience.
Yeah,
that is why.
That's right. We're going to protect our kids.
Raising families with almost nothing.
and building something out of nothing. That is the resilience that black women have demonstrated in this country.
I tell you.
That's what the founders say. Out of the darkness came forth the light.
That's right.
And Donald Trump doesn't realize that he's slicing his own throat by attacking them.
Well, hey.
Well, look, one thing about it, we can definitely handle it.
That's right.
By the grace of Yahweh, I better make sure I put that in there. Hey.
Right. By the grace of Yahweh.
Right. But
we're gonna let him handle that.
Now unto him who is able to keep you from falling, to present you faultless before the presence of his glory, with exceeding delight, to the only wise Elohim, our Savior, Yahshua the Messiah, our Sovereign, belong glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and forever. Let us all say, Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Love you guys, and I thank you so much for showing up.
Yep.
Well needed.
Love you guys.
See you in 2 days. See you in 2 days.
Yep. Everybody have a good week.
All right.
Love you.
I love you
Love
too.
you.
Until we meet again.